One of the most successful television series reboots in history that improved and expanded on nearly every single aspect of the original, it deepened the mythology and asked tougher questions as it warned us about the stupid things we're doing, the awful people we're worshipping, and the danger of artificial intelligence as we algorithm ourselves into extinction. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica is a live-action television series that began as a miniseries in December of 2003, then ran 4 seasons in the US from January of 2005 to March of 2009, a reboot of a legacy franchise that stared the viewer directly in the face as it proclaimed that this has all happened before, and asked, does it have to— oh, f*** you. A reboot of a legacy franchise that stared the viewer directly in the face as it proclaimed that this has all happened before, and asked, does it all have to happen again? It is a time of peace throughout the galaxy. The 12 colonies of humankind are decommissioning one of their flagship military vessels, the mighty Battlestar Galactica, the last of her kind, laden with out-of-date technology, a spacefaring museum that belongs in a museum. Because it's been 40 years since the end of the war with the Cylons, who, by the way, were created by humans. They were created to make life easier on the 12 colonies. But then the day came when the Cylons decided to kill their masters. After a long and bloody struggle, an armistice was declared. The Cylons left for another world to call their own. A remote space station was built where Cylon and human could meet and maintain relations. Every year the humans send an officer, the Cylons send none. No one has seen or heard from the Cylons in over 40 years. Until today, when the Cylons launched a surprise attack with the help of an unwitting human named Gaius Baltar, a man who is considered to be a genius, who considers himself to be a genius, but is easily duped into giving up the secrets of humanity's self-defense capabilities because a pretty lady paid attention to him. The result is the apocalyptic destruction of the 12 colonies via nuclear devastation, the entirety of human civilization reduced to roughly 50,000 refugees, stranded in space trying to decide if they should fight or take flight. A tough task, as the Cylons aren't what they used to be. Hard to blame Baltar for being manipulated by a woman that, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be human, but was actually a Cylon. Because in the 40 years since the end of the war with the Cylons have spent time and resources evolving their species to the point where there is almost no discernible difference. For now, the only hope for the survival of the human race is to accept that the war is over and we lost. To get as far away as possible, as fast as possible. To disappear into the darkness of space in a caravan of civilian ships, a ragtag fugitive fleet, traveling across the galaxy, searching for a new home where the Cylons cannot find them, led by Commander Adama and the crew of the Battlestar Galactica. Thank you to 80stees.com for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY to get 30% off your order today. What's the first thing that pops into your head when I say the 1980s or the 1990s? Don't think about it, just say it. 1, 2, 3, Rubik's Cube. Yes, they have that, or they had that, or they will have that. 80stees.com is constantly refreshing their inventory with officially licensed t-shirts featuring characters, quotes, and logos from cartoons, comics, TV shows, movies, wrestling, and music from the 1970s through the 2000s. So while I can't guarantee that everything you can think of will be in stock, I can guarantee that you'll always be surprised by the range of their selection. 80stees.com has something for everyone. Your favorite heroes like Batman, Spider-Man, Mega Man, Deadpool, and Wolverine, Voltron, both Lion and Vehicle, Star Wars, Stargate, old and older Battlestar Galactica, Motley Crue, Biz Markie, Pink Floyd, and Jimi Hendrix. Find the shirt that's right for you, the one that speaks to your interests, and lets the world know that there's no bigger fan of scratch and sniff stickers, Spam, or Kellogg's Fruit Loops than you. And you can prove it because you're wearing the shirt. Click the link below and use code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order today. Again, that's code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order. And thanks again to 80stees.com. Battlestar Galactica is a television franchise that was originally created by Glenn A. Larson, no relation, in the wake of sci-fi space war excitement after the release of Star Wars in 1977. It ran for a single season of 24 episodes from September of 1978 to April of 1979 before being canceled due to low ratings and an unusually high production budget. It followed the story of the last survivors of humankind on the run after the destruction of their homeworld by the ruthless, artificially intelligent alien robot Cylons. After 1,000 years of war, the Cylons finally accomplished defeating both their original creators, an unseen race of reptilian aliens, and most of the humans in the 12 colonies. The great spaceship Battlestar Galactica leads a ragtag fugitive fleet across the galaxy in search of the legendary lost 13th colony of humanity and their homeworld called Earth. They come very close to finding Earth, our Earth, just as the series was canceled, but that would have to wait for the sequel series. Galactica 1980, also created by Glenn A. Larson, still no relation, reinvented the series on Earth in then present-day 1980, narratively 30 years after the original series ended. In the interest of budget, the series followed the main characters dressed in Earth clothing in Earth cities doing Earth stuff, while attempting to covertly assist in the advancement of human technology so they can defend themselves when the Cylons find them. It ran 10 episodes from January to May of 1980 before being canceled due to very low ratings. But before it was canceled, Galactica 1980 explored a concept critical to the future of the franchise. Cylons evolved to the point where they looked like humans.
There was a Cylon of human form. What?
In the two-part episode, The Night the Cylons Landed, a Cylon ship crash lands on Earth. The only survivors are a conventional robot Cylon and a new type of Cylon that, on the outside, looks and sounds exactly like a human. We'll come back to this. In 1998, nearly 20 years after Galactica 1980 was canceled, Richard Hatch, the actor who played Apollo in the original series, carried the torch for the franchise. He went so far as to co-write, co-direct, and co-produce a short proof-of-concept film called Battlestar Galactica: The Second Coming. Hatch screened the short film at various sci-fi and comic conventions in 1999. Despite the inclusion of multiple original cast members and modern visual effects, Galactica owners Universal Studios declined to produce it as a new series. Around the same time, Todd Moyer, a producer on the film adaptation of the game Wing Commander, worked with Glenn A. Larson to develop a Battlestar Galactica film that would have featured Battlestar Pegasus, that Universal also declined to produce. In 2000, director Bryan Singer and executive producer Tom DeSanto, hot off the success of the X-Men movie, started development of a TV series based on Battlestar Galactica for Fox Television. Set 25 years after the original series, including many of the original characters and cast members, it was scheduled to begin production in November of 2001 for a premiere date in May of 2002. However, Singer had to drop out to refocus his efforts on the production of X2. Fox lost confidence in the project and opted to cancel instead of finding someone else to take over. In 2002, Universal Television was interested in getting Battlestar Galactica back on television. They sent producer David Icke to meet with writer Ronald D. Moore to see if he wanted to take a swing at reinventing the concept, initially as a 4-hour miniseries for the Sci-Fi cable network that could turn into a series if the ratings were there.
Why don't we watch this Battlestar Galactica DVD I just got? Season 1. I heard really good things about it.
Moore had already been a writer, script editor, co-producer, and producer on Star Trek: The Next Generation, as well as the films Star Trek Generations in 1994 and Star Trek First Contact in 1996. He was a writer and later supervising producer and co-executive producer on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In 1999, he moved over to Star Trek Voyager, but left after just a few episodes. From 2000 to 2002, he was a writer and co-executive producer on the television series Roswell. To say that he was at home with television science fiction would be an understatement. Moore was already familiar with the original Battlestar Galactica series, but after his conversation with David Icke in Universal, he decided to rewatch the movie-length pilot from 1978. As he put it in a 2003 interview, quote, "I watched this story of a civilization being wiped out and I realized I was looking at it through very different eyes after 9/11. Suddenly I could tell a story about us. What does it do to you to wake up one day and everything you thought was safe in your world is wiped out? Some of us react badly, some of us react nobly. We may rally around the flag together for a moment, then it becomes something else because we're still human beings." End quote.
I was instrumental in the destruction of humanity.
I have failed so many people.
We make our own laws now, our own justice.
I'm going to be slipping away from this life. Shoot me. I'm not afraid to die.
No one's asking anyone to forget, but we have to look to the future.
Moore and Icke developed the new concept of Battlestar Galactica that pulled many elements from the original series and the 1980 sequel, but also moved pieces around to create something that was wholly new and unique. They intentionally developed a format where they could surprise the audience and work in a more improvisational way instead of charting out story arcs years in advance. The biggest change they made was the idea that the Cylons were no longer an army of unfeeling robots created by aliens set out to exterminate the human race. This time, they were an army of intelligent, self-aware robots created by humans set out to exterminate the human race. Furthermore, like Galactica 1980 before, some of the Cylons were now so advanced that they looked just like humans. This time on the outside and on the inside. It was only at the molecular level that a difference became apparent.
One more season.
I don't remember the last time Mom got in the bathroom.
In this version of the story, there are no aliens, an intentional choice made to keep the focus on the characters, the interpersonal drama, and relatability of the story. They wanted to keep it real. Some of that realism and gravitas was provided by veteran cast members like Edward James Olmos as Commander Adama and Mary McDonnell as Laura Roslin. Producers took a chance on Tricia Helfer, who played the humanoid Cylon 6, a model-turned-actress in her first major role. She was frequently opposite James Callis playing Gaius Baltar. That said, once details about the reboot were made public, many fans of the original series lost their fucking minds. Those fans took exception with changes to the gender and race of some of the characters. Colonel Ty, previously played by Terry Carter, was now played by Michael Hogan. Boomer, previously played by Richard Jefferson Jr., was now played by Grace Park. Starbuck, previously played by Dirk Benedict, was now played by Katie Sackhoff. And it wasn't just the fans who were opposed to these changes. After the two-part miniseries aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in December of 2003, original Starbuck Dirk Benedict himself wrote an article for Dreamwatch magazine worthy of a YouTube comments section saying, quote, "Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Hamlet does not scan as Hamletta, nor does Han Solo as Han Sally. Face man is not the same as face woman, nor does a star doe a Starbuck make. Men hand out cigars, women hand out babies, and thus the world, for thousands of years, has gone round."
No, Starbuck isn't that dependent on people. Like, Starbuck, I think, like, wouldn't even call anyone.
Sci-Fi president Bonnie Hammer said she had also enjoyed the original series but thought it was too campy to continue in the year of our Lord 2004. She loved the twists of the new series and the parallel to real-world military forces finally coming around to integrating women as fighter pilots. And not for nothing, this was exactly what the Sci-Fi Network had asked for. They wanted a clean slate in the universe that allowed them to deliver the same kind of surprise to a new audience that the original had delivered to the children of the 70s. They didn't want to lock out viewers who didn't know the difference between a boomer and a boxy. In the nascent days of the internet, Moore himself was aware of the online response and let it motivate him, drawing power from the angry comments as they were posted. He said, quote, "Once it became a thing, then I was like, yeah, just stoke those flames, man. We need all the help we can get. Yell about it, get angry. I need the publicity. Please go to chat rooms. More mails demanding Ron Moore's head. Please give it to me." Now, Moore and Ike had delivered what Sci-Fi and Universal had asked of them. However, Sci-Fi and Universal were apprehensive about the show once they got some numbers back from test audiences. Executives began to worry that the series was too dark, too heavy, too scary. Moore has said maybe the executives were expecting a little more of an epic adventure type series, to which Moore argued that the subject matter, especially after 9/11, deserved the severity of tone. And besides, just like the human survivors in the series, it was too late to change course. Battlestar Galactica was the highest rated miniseries on cable in 2003 and posted the year's best ratings of any show on the Sci-Fi Channel, numbers that more than justified a regular series order of 13 episodes. Season 1 began airing in the US in January of 2005. The first episode again posted record numbers as one of the highest rated shows, bringing in 3.1 million viewers. That momentum continued through to an order for a 20-episode Season 2 that aired through March of 2006 and another 20-episode Season 3 that aired through March of 2007. In May of 2007, Sci-Fi confirmed that not only would there be a fourth season of 22 episodes, but that it would also be the end of the series. In a show rife with trolley problems, characters constantly forced to choose whether to save one life or thousands of lives, Moore was faced with his own. To continue to stretch the story out for as long as profitable, preserving the jobs of all the cast and crew, or draw the line where it made sense for the characters. At first, Moore said the executives weren't sure it was the right decision, but acquiesced after they talked about it. They agreed that this wasn't the kind of show that could just go on forever like Law & Order, refreshing the cast here and there. Technically, the first 2 episodes of Season 4 were developed as a standalone made-for-TV movie called Battlestar Galactica Razor, which was sold on DVD just days after it aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. The actual first 12 episodes of Season 4 began airing in April of 2008 before the series went on hiatus due to the writer's strike of 2007. The final 10 episodes aired from January to March of 2009. There were a lot of comics and novels and some video games, in fact so much that we could dedicate an entire video to them. But we're not going to get into all that. Just know that they're out there if you want to look them up. And while Battlestar Galactica wasn't a kids show, that didn't mean there weren't toys for adults to collect. Diamond Select produced a full line of action figures based on the 2004 series, as well as a series of mini-mates from both the 2004 series and the original 1978 series. Galoob produced die-cast miniature ships from both series as well.
That's the last one! Satisfying finale, that's it.
Sci-Fi Channel went back to Galactica, sort of, in 2010 with the prequel series Caprica. It took place nearly 60 years prior to the 2004 series, before the war with the Cylons, and focused on the creation of the Cylons by humans. It was canceled after one season of 19 episodes. That was followed by a 10-episode web series called Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome in 2012. Also a prequel featuring a young Adama. It was also intended as a potential pilot for a series that was never picked up. Most recently in 2019, reports reported that Sam Esmail, the creator of the television series Mr. Robot, was set to direct a new reboot series for NBC Universal's streaming service Peacock. However, by March of 2021, Michael Leslie, the writer and producer, was off the project, and the production was officially placed in limbo status. The bad limbo, not the fun limbo. Battlestar Galactica was lavished with critical praise and showered with awards, a degree of recognition that the original series never experienced. In 2009, Moore and Ike, along with members of the cast, were invited by the United Nations to be a part of a panel to discuss themes from the series that resonated with ongoing real-world events like human rights, terrorism, children in armed conflict, and more. It was validation for Moore, who said in an Empire article, quote, "I think it just moved people and made people ask questions. It shocked people. It made people wonder if they were rooting for the right side or not. When I look back at the show, I just feel pride, a great deal of satisfaction, a sense of accomplishment. We accomplished something special, and the reaction to it kind of bears that out." End quote. Battlestar Galactica was built on the idea that all of this has happened before and all of this will happen again. In our world that includes this series, the original 1978 series before it, and perhaps a warning that we will inevitably return to it in a familiar but new form. Within the world of the story, it means that this isn't the first time a new species of artificial life has been created that fought back and defeated its creators, only to go on to create its own new species of artificial life that rebelled against them. Each time, each new species attempting to evolve, but never resolving the fundamental flaw of arrogance in the pursuit of technological mastery. Battlestar Galactica's series finale suggests that our present-day Earth was founded by the remaining humans and advanced Cylons that found a way to procreate together. We, the humans of Earth, are their descendants 150,000 years later in present-day 2004 as we begin to develop our own artificial intelligence and the mechanical bodies it will inhabit. As much as Moore was moved by the original series in the wake of 9/11, so should we be moved by his reimagining of the series today in 2024. 20 years later, it is a stark and explicit warning about the dangers of the technologies we create, who we trust to manage their creation, and how we deal with both in our shared global society, to not make the same mistakes humanity made in Battlestar Galactica. How are we doing on time? Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Several different tiers to address your specific Secret Galaxy content needs. Check out our new Secret Galaxy merch shop at secretgalaxy.shop. All merchandise is physically in stock and ready to ship. Links to all of this in the description below. And let us know in the comments down below which Battlestars Galacticas you've watched. I watched the original series and some of Galactica 1980, but missed out on this series because I was too invested in the aesthetics of the 1978 series. I loved the look and feel of that show, probably mostly because I was a very young child at the time. It was all Star Wars to me. When the 2004 series didn't have the same aesthetics, I never gave it a second look, to my own detriment. After watching the pilot, I know I missed out on watching something very special in real time. Good news for me, it still exists, and I can just watch it now. This future maybe isn't so bad after all.
Cut.